We got a pretty decent selection here, and that's thanks to the guys at Tucson Guns. Tucson Guns is a full-service gun shop, Class 3 dealer here in Tucson, Arizona. They've been in business for 7 years now. Ever since the beginning, they've been supporters of our websites and now our videos. What they've done is given us the opportunity with 10 different 380 pistols, compare, review, evaluate them, and yes, even get a little range time. So we do appreciate the opportunity. Hopefully we'll do it justice here. Alright, we're going to take a look at the weight and size of these. We're not a catalog or anything, but because we've got them here, we'll just do a quick comparison of physical characteristics. A note on that, we always weigh them empty, and the reason for that is because we don't know what kind of ammo you're going to put in it. We could put it with a representative sample of ammo, but I guess we don't. So we're going to go ahead and start with one of the larger ones here, the Bersa 380, the Bersa Thunder 380 Plus. And its empty weight is 1 pound 5.5 ounces. The Walther PPK S, very heavy one. I suspect maybe the heaviest. 1 pound 7.5 ounces. A larger one, but not one of the heavy ones, is the Walther PK 380. 1 pound 3.2 ounces. A little one, but a heavy one, the Micro Desert Eagle from Magnum Research. 13.6 ounces. Another of the tiny heavyweights, North American Arms Guardian 380. 1 pound 2.5 ounces empty. Not a polymer pistol. Now we'll be dealing with all polymers. We'll start out with the Diamondback DB 380. 10.4 ounces. The Kahr P380. 11.5 ounces. Next up, the Taurus TCP, 10.1 ounces. The Ruger LCP, 9.7 ounces, and last up, the Kel-Tec P380 or P380, 9.2 ounces. So obviously the polymer pistols are a bit lighter, but there's a pretty big spread between the big heavy ones and the little heavy ones and their little polymer cousins. So definitely we're not talking more than a pound or so, even when loaded, but there is quite a difference in range here for weight. And just for reference, 6 rounds of 95 grain ball ammo in 380 ACP weighs 2.1 ounces. And just for reference, we'll go ahead and just do a quick size on the overall slide length and then the grip length. So on the Bersa Thunder Plus 380, we're looking at 6 or 7 inches depending on where you measure, and then about 5 inches on the grip. On the Walther PPK S, again, we're looking at 6 or 7 depending on where you measure. If you measure here or here, and then we're looking at just under 5 inches for the grip. Next up is the Walther PK 380, and we're looking at about 6.5 inches for the slide, and we're looking at about 5 inches for the grip. Dropping down to the Kel-Tec here, its overall slide length is looking at about 5.5 inches. Its grip length from the top of the slide to the bottom of the grip is about 3.5 inches. Hey, what do you know? The Ruger is pretty much exactly the same because it's pretty much the same pistol. Then we've got the Taurus TCP, looking at about 5 inches for the slide, and overall about 3.5 again on the grip. Then we're looking at the Kahr. It's looking at about 5 inches, just shy of 5 inches on the barrel, and about 4 inches on the grip. The DB 380 from Diamondback, and again we're looking at about little under 5 to 5 depending on where you want to measure. And then this way we're looking at, again, just a hair over 3.5 inches that way. Then we've got the North American Arms Guardian 380, and we're looking at about 4.5 on the slide, and about 3.5 overall there. Then we've got that little Desert Eagle, Micro Desert Eagle, and that's at about 4.5 for the slide, and it's just at 3.5 for the grip. Now I'm going to measure one more important thing that is really important on these small ones, and that's the distance from the bottom of the trigger guard to the bottom of the grip, since that's going to differ quite a bit. Again, on this Desert Eagle, we're looking at about, I'm being generous with 1.5 inches. On the North American Arms Guardian 380, from the bottom there, if we're being generous, we're going to say 2 inches if we count the magazine there. If we don't count the magazine, I'm going to say about 1.5. So 2 inches pretty much there. Next up, the Diamondback DB380, and we're going to be again right around 1.5. Kahr P380, a little over 1.5. A little over. Taurus TCP, about 1.5, just a hair over 1.5. Next up, the Ruger LCP, and we're looking at about 1.5, a little tight 1.5 there, just under 1.5. And the Kel-Tec, again a tight 1.5. The Bersa, I wonder what it'll be. Do we have enough tape measure here? We've got 2.5. A little under 2.5, but just under. The Walther PPK S, we're looking again at about 2.5 if we count the extended floor plate on that magazine, which is on the magazine, so we might as well. Same thing with the other Walther here. It's really part of the magazine, so we'll just include it. And again, we're looking at 2.5, probably being maybe just a little over 2.5, just a hair over. So we're definitely looking at a little more comfortable grip with the larger ones. That's super obvious. I think the big winner here is the Kahr, for just something about that shape gives you 2 fingers there, where something like this Ruger, you know, you're really pushing it to say 2 fingers, because there's not a lot of purchase with that second finger. Alright, now we're just going to do a quick size comparison. I've got a full-size 1911. I know it's not a great comparison, but I think it's a fairly common pistol that people are going to be familiar with. We also have a Glock 27, which is the subcompact size, smallest Glock available here in the US. And again, just for size comparison with them, we'll just quickly go around. Kel-Tec compared to the 45, dwarfs it. The Ruger LCP, pretty much exactly the same proportions with the 1911. Next up, the Taurus PT 738 with the Glock and with the 1911. We've got that Kahr with the Glock and with the 1911. Then we have the Diamondback DB380 with the Glock with the 1911. Next up, the North American Arms Guardian 380 with the Glock with the 1911. Magnum Research Micro Desert Eagle with the Glock with the 1911. Up is the Walther PPK 380 with the Glock. It's actually bigger than the Glock. And then with the 1911. Walther PPK S with the Glock. With the 1911. Last up is the Bersa 380 Plus, Thunder 380 Plus with the Glock and with the 1911. So that's just a quick weight and measurement. Again, we're not a catalog here, but just as something of a comparison.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.